So let us start with the first lecture, that is History and Evolution of Java Programming. So the very first question that arises that why do we require a Java programming language? So we already know that the world of programming is changing dynamically. Every now and then we see a lot of programming language coming up with their lots of advantages. So one of the beauty about Java is that it has adapted with all the changes which is given by this dynamic environment, and therefore it is keeping itself updated with the computing world. So for every programming language, it is really important to identify what is the requirement for today and then keep a pace with it, and Java is doing it very nicely. The general question is that why do we require a new programming language? We already had the concept of C and C++. Then why do we require a Java? Or let's say even after Java, it was doing well. Then why do we require a new programming language? So this is a very general term that why do we require a new programming language every now and then? So the first important thing is that the complexity of the environment, of the computing environment, increases day by day. And this environment demands a lot of new features. And to add up all these new features, we require a new programming languages. We are aware about the hierarchy of the programming paradigm. So we have started with a binary language in which everything was written in the form of zeros and ones. So we know that there was a list of, let's say, some appendix, and I need to add two numbers. So there might be some instructions which is written in binary code to add the numbers. There might be some instructions which is written in binary to, let's say, subtract the number. Now imagine the type of complexity that we have if I directly need to program anything in case of binary language. I do not understand anything. It is simply a set of zeros and ones. What we have is a list of data and correspondingly the list of binary numbers, which is not easy to understand. Now this problem was overcome by the next programming language, that is assembly language. So here the complexity was reduced by a certain level. Now instead of working on the binary numbers, that is zeros and ones, now we need to talk about the symbolic numbers. These symbolic numbers are predefined. These numbers are already given to the programmer, but now they are in much more readable form. However, with the advancement of this language, we also need to compromise on something. So we know that binary language is something which is easily understandable by the computer or the system. However, whenever we talk about any programming language which is written in some different form, it might be an assembly level language or it might be some other form. But in that case, it would not be easy for a computer or a system to understand it. So now we need something which can transfer or convert the code which is written in the human readable form to the machine readable form. So assembly level language has definitely came up with an advantage that now we do not need to worry about the kind of an input which is given, because this is very much near to the human readable form. However, some compiler is required or something is required which is going to convert this language into the human readable form. So after assembly level language, there was some requirement to write a free flow, because in case of assembly level language, I need to remember the codes which is known as the symbolic representation or the mnemonics in order to write a code. But it was not giving a lot of flexibility to the user. So then we have moved towards the structured programming language, just like a C program, in which the program was divided into small modules or the functional modules, and all of these modules combined together in order to give one major functionality. But again, there was a problem of security of the data. There was again a problem of rewriting the code, which was later updated in the object-oriented programming language. This is what we are going to study in our course. So object-oriented programming language has made certain advancement with the real-time system. It has overcome the issues of security. It has overcome the issues of the platform compatibility. So we are going to see that how Java has come up as a new programming language, which is again a kind of an object-oriented programming language, which has overcome all the problems of the previously used languages. Let's talk about the history of Java. So one day, these scientists have tried to create a language which will work as a general purpose object oriented programming language. And this is very much based on the concept of C and C++. But at that time, the requirement was to create a language which can be embedded into the devices, because devices were something which were evolving at that time. The electronic devices were evolving at that time. So they were basically created to fulfill the requirement of a software which can be embedded into the electronic devices. But at the same time, the internet was introduced to the world. And fortunately, Java was also evolving at that time. So with the evolvement of these two factors have made Java as one of the most popular or acceptable language in the world of programming. Now let's talk about the primary motivation, that what was the motivation behind the language. So the primary motivation was to create a software that can be easily embedded into a various electronic devices. And to create such software, it has to be a platform independent as well as portable. So there was a requirement of a language that can move from one platform to another platform without much changes. So this was the primary motivation for creating a language, unlike C and C++, which is totally dependent on the system. But now taking all the features along with adding the compatibility of the platform and the portability of a particular language makes Java a different language from C and C++. So how Java changed the internet? I told you that the primary motivation was not to create a language for the internet, but this happens by chance that the internet was booming and there was a requirement for creating a language which is platform independent. Combining both things, Java has came up with a revolution in case of internet. So the first thing that has changed the internet was Java applet. These are a small applications which is written in the Java programming language and they are transmitted over the internet. Another advantage of applet is that it can be executed automatically by a browser which is Java compatible. Now let's talk about some of the features of Java programming. So the first and the most important thing is that Java is a simple language. So if you have a hands-on or practice on any programming language, let's say C or C++, you will find it very easy to learn this new language, and it is also efficient to use. Not just an object-oriented programming language, but it has also tried to change, or it has also tried to overcome some of the problem of C++, specifically when we talk about pointers. So while writing any program, we usually get stuck, or we usually get into the topic of pointers. And some of the time, this is something which is majorly involved in giving you so many errors. So in case of Java, there is no concept of pointers. And the next thing is the garbage collection that we do is actually done automatically in Java. So if you remember, in case of C programming language, we have the functions called malloc, calloc, realloc, and free, which actually allocates the memory as per the user's wish. And whenever you are occupying a memory, it becomes user's responsibility to free those memory. However, in case of Java, all the garbage collection is done automatically, so you do not need to worry about a particular memory that you have occupied, and you do not need to worry about what is going to be stored at what location. The next and the most important thing is that it has a lot of predefined class library, which makes it easy to use and easy to apply on your programs. The next feature of Java is that it is object oriented. So we will talk about object in detail, but for the timing, we understand that in case of Java, everything is focused on the data. And data is something which is going to be worked upon, which is going to be manipulated when we apply any functions on them. And all the functions that we are going to apply are also going to affect the objects. So here the concentration is much upon what is going to be affected instead of how it is going to be manipulated. And almost most of the data type, including the files and strings, are in the form of an object. So therefore it gives you the better reusability of the code and organization of them. The next is that Java is interpreted, but just like any other interpreted language, Java is not slow. So we know the difference between a compiler and interpreter. Compiler is something which is going to take the whole code at once, convert that into an executable file, And then this executable file is given to the machine, and finally machine try to decode it and perform the operations. Whereas in case of interpreter, the program is executed line by line. So you try to execute the first line, try to understand what this line is going to do, and then we go to the second line. But this step by step or line by line interpretation becomes difficult because it try to reduce the performance of the program. It try to take a lot of time compared to the compiler. But when we talk about Java programming language, first of all, you are going to compile a file, that is a .java file, which is going to generate a bytecode. And this bytecode is then given to a virtual machine, that is what we call as JVM. We are going to talk about JVM in our next session. So which is given to a virtual machine, which is going to interpret it and ultimately is responsible to give you the output. And the compiler, which is going to generate a bytecode, this particular bytecode is something which is platform independent and works as a magic in case of Java programming. So bytecodes are first of all translated. Again, it is not going to be a proper interpretation, but a combination of compiler and interpreted. The most important thing that brings a revolution in Java programming is its portability. So Java is portable, and why it is portable? Because it generates a bytecode, and this bytecode is something which is not dependent on the platform. So it is just like you are writing a code and you have a bytecode of some program, and now no matter into which machine the program was written upon, you can take this bytecode into some different hardware and software configuration. You try to run that particular code. And if your system is installed with the Java properly, then everything is going to work fine. So bytecode which has been generated is actually a magic which is going to give the facility of portability. The next feature is that Java is robust. By robust, I mean a lot of compile time and runtime error checking is done. So even if you make some mistake in your programming language, it has a rich set of error checking, which will help you to know where the error is, and then you can try to fix it easily. Also, there is no concept of pointers. So there will be no problem of memory corruption, because in case of pointers, we try to occupy certain memory from the system. But now if you do not worry about occupying a certain memory or the size of the memory, because all of this is going to be handled automatically by Java. So there will be no problem of memory corruption, or the unauthorized access is not possible. Similarly, the garbage collection keeps a track of giving the sufficient memory to your program and taking all the objects which is not used or which are not required anymore in your program. Also, Java is secure. The reason is that whatever bytecode that we have, this bytecode is not going to communicate with your system directly. So Java is creating a hindrance between the environment and your system. Whatever you are going to execute is in a particular environment, so it is not going to communicate with your system directly. So now there is no problem of getting the errors or getting some virus into your system. Also, the bytecode that we generate is something which is tamper and virus free. Also, the memory allocation, which was the major problem earlier, is now taken care. Multi-threading is one of the most powerful feature of Java, because it allows the concurrent execution of a set of instructions. Although multi-threading itself is a huge topic that we are going to cover in a different unit, but it is important to understand for the timing that it is possible for the different set of code in a same program to run simultaneously, and these set of instructions can even synchronize with them. So this is one of the new thing in Java, which actually handles a lots of complication. Also, the Java is dynamic, because we have seen just now that it is actually adapting to the changing environment. So it is easy for a programmer to adapt to a new environment if you are having some of the basic concept of the programming language. Also, a lot of libraries are freely available. So you can simply plug in into your program and then use them. And all the kind of uh, performance that we are going to see is very dynamic in nature. And then you can also check the class time at runtime. So this actually requires a lot of discussion on Java programming language. The next is that it is distributed. I told you that it is compatible with the internet, so it can handle the TCP/IP protocol. You can even exchange the resources on the internet with the help of URL. Of course, it is architectural neutral. The reason is bytecode makes it platform independent. So a program which is written once can be run anytime, anywhere. That is known as WORA. Write once, run anytime. And the bytecode is something which is responsible for this. And this bytecode is executed by the Java virtual machine, that is JVM. Also, I told you that even if it is an interpreted language, the performance do not degrade. The reason is we have one more thing which is known as just-in-time compiler. This compiler is actually used to compile some part of a bytecode, right? And bytecode is something which is platform independent. So imagine that you have written a code and you are writing a code in such a way that some of the methods are supposed to be executed again and again. So instead of running those programs for n number of times, interpreter first of all try to go through it line by line. And once a particular threshold is reached, then just-in-time compiler comes into the picture, and then it handles all the complexities and try to run your program faster than rest of the interpreted language. So this is all about the features of Java, what makes Java different from any other programming language, how the Java was evolved. And in the next session, we'll try to see that if you do not have a system having a Java compatibility, then how to make your system Java compatible, how to install Java into your system, and how to use it.